Try not to get too stressed, because we're looking at water stress. As the population of the world and the way we use water is changing, the demand for water is increasing. The following demands put increased pressure on the water supply and can result in more stress or water scarcity. Water stress and scarcity. When a water supply is limited within an area, it can be seen to have water stress or water scarcity. This can also be seen when the demand is significantly above that of the available clean water supply. Water stress is defined as an area with less than 1,700 metre cubed water per person. Water scarcity is an area defined with less than 1,000 metre cubed water per person. Increasing population. As the world's population is increasing, the amount of water that countries are expected to use is increasing. In developed nations with higher standards of living, this can result in the total demand being significantly higher than the natural supply. In developed nations, in like the UK and USA, water-consuming devices like washing machines contribute to water consumption. Unnecessary uses of water like swimming pools and water fountains can also be found. In contrast, more rural and undeveloped areas only consume water that has been directly collected from a local water source, like a well or a river. As countries develop and the middle class expand, so do living standards and use of water-consuming devices. Agriculture. In developing nations, the majority of water use will be assigned for agriculture because it's the main industry for income, but this water can be wasteful, like in rice paddies. Some countries have not developed a clear way of identifying water consumption and paying for it appropriately. In rural Tanzania, farmers pay a one-off annual fee to access a water source or a well. This leads to farmers using more water than necessary because they feel like they've already paid for it. Industrialization. Electricity is needed to power factories used by industry, but the production of most energy, especially that formed from the combustion of fossil fuels, is very water dependent in the form of steam to power and turbines. A significant amount of water is needed to clean the equipment too. For example, in Rajasthan, India, a Coca-Cola bottling factory uses the equivalent of 4 bottles of water to produce 1 bottle of Coca-Cola. Let's quickly recap that. Water demand, so industrialization increases the demand for water. Factories are dependent on water in the form of steam to power turbines. Production processes need a significant amount of water to clean the equipment. Now let's look at physical components of water stress. There are a few physical factors that affect the water stress experienced by countries. This includes the amount of precipitation and the availability of fresh water from glacial ice sheets. Countries expected to see the highest likelihood of water stress are found in northern Africa, like Morocco, and the Middle East, such as the UAE. Morocco and the UAE are found at 30 degrees north, where the Hadley and Ferrel circulation cells meet. The meeting of these cells causes an area of high pressure with sinking air, so there's no cloud formation and minimal rainfall. Most deserts are found near 30 degrees north or south. Countries least at risk. Countries near the equator have a low risk of water stress, like Brazil. This is because there is an area of low pressure, where warm, moist air rises before cooling and condensing to form clouds and precipitation. Countries with large ice sheets, like Greenland, also have a low risk of water stress. Most of Greenland is covered with an ice sheet that, despite the likelihood of being melted by climate change, will make sure that there is plenty of fresh water available for consumption. Physical factors like lack of rainfall can cause these countries in Northern Africa and the Middle East to have water stress. The majority of what are found here because of the climatic conditions. The correct answer is the majority of deserts. The use of water-consuming devices increases country development. The middle class expand, and what increases? Levels, living standards, or water contamination. The correct answer is living standards increase. Now let's have a look at the human components of water stress. Fast-growing populations, high living standards, and industry demands for water are human factors affecting water stress. Countries most at risk. The USA lies across several latitudes with a high range of climatic zones and precipitation. High living standards mean the US is the largest consumer of per capita of water in the world. The amount of water used for industry means that water resources are at risk. Similarly, India and China are seen to be at high risk of water stress. These countries have the fastest growing populations and an increase in middle classes using water-consuming devices. Countries least at risk. Russia has a relatively high land mass in relation to its population. Because of the relatively low population, it's predicted that Russia is at a relatively low risk of water stress. Which factors that are human affect water stress? These are fast-growing populations, high living standards and industry demands. Why does the USA experience water stress? Because it lies across several latitudes with a large range of climatic zones and precipitation. It has a huge population with increased living standards that puts pressure on water-dependent industry and so strain on water resources. The different physical components of water stress. Climate change will melt Greenland's ice sheet to produce fresh water. It has a need causing an area of high pressure. Countries near the equator see more rainfall and less water stress, and Brazil has relative water security due to their high rainfall. Two countries that are at high risk of water stress are India and China, because they have the fastest growing populations and an increase in the middle classes using water consuming devices.